सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुश्रोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि ब्रह्म उपनिषदं माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम् मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत्। अनिराकरणमस्त्वनिराकरणं मे अस्तु। तदात्मनि निरते यौपनिषत्सु धर्मास्ते मयि सन्तु सन्तु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये। ओमित्येतदक्षरमुद्गीतमुपासीत ओमिति ह्युद्गायते तस्योपव्याख्यानम्। In the sixth chapter of the Chhandogya Upanishad, it started this way: Om Shvedaketurha Arune Asa. Once upon a time, there was a young man, a young boy whose name was Shvedaketu, the grandson of Aruni, Arun, or son of Aruni. Tamha Pita Uvacha. Once upon a time, the father addressed his boy, Shvedaketu Vasa Brahmacharyam. Hey Shvedaketu, may you now go to Gurukulam and live the life of Brahmachari, meaning go to the teacher and study the Vedas. Navai Somya Asmat Kulinaha Ananucha Brahmabandhuri Bhavatiti. Look, anybody born in our family, Ananucha, there never has been anybody who has not studied the Vedas, and Brahma Bandhu, like a Brahmana, who is Brahma Bandhu, one who says, this Brahmana is my relative, this Brahmana is my relative. One who claims Brahmanas to be his relatives, but one who does not conduct himself as a Brahmana is a Brahma Bandhu. There has not been a Brahma Bandhu in our lineage. So, hey Shvedaketu, you should go to the teacher and be initiated as a brahmachari, as a student, and study the Vedas from the teacher. Sah dvadasha varsha. He was 12-year-old at that time. Upetya, when the teacher was initiated. Chaturvimshati varsha, until he became of the age 24. Sarvan Vedan Adhitya, having studied all the Vedas in 12 years. Mahamanaha Anuchanamani Stabdheva Eyaya. Mahamanaha, very haughty, very proud, very conceited, thinking very highly of himself. Anuchanamani, and one who is capable of giving the talk, of teaching others. Anuchanamani. Stabdha, very arrogant, immodest. This is how the fathers found. The son is returned like this. He is very proud of his learning, and very tight, very immodest. Tama pita uvacha. To him the father said, Shvetaketo, hey Shvetaketo. Yannu somida mahamanaha anuchanamani stabdahasi. That you are very haughty, very proud, and you are also proud of being anuchanamani, proud of being a learned person. Stabdaha, very arrogant, immodest. You have all that, means you must have something very special that you become like this. Uta tam adesham apraksha. Did you ask for that instruction? Did you ask for the teaching? Meaning, did you learn this from your teacher? What? Yena ashrutam shrutam bhavati amatam matam avijñātam vijñātamiti. Did you get this instruction from your teacher? By which ashrutam, what is not heard of, becomes as well heard of. Amatam matam, what is not thought of, becomes as well thought of. Avijñātam vijñātam, what is not known, as well becomes known. So Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. Same sequence is followed here. So scriptures that are what you have not heard of, as well becomes heard. By hearing which, everything as well becomes heard. By hearing which, what you have not yet heard, also as well becomes heard. By thinking about which, everything becomes as well as thought of. By knowing which, everything as well becomes known. Did you ask for the instruction of this entity, of this reality? He was tadita adbhutam sutvaha. When Shvetaketu heard of this from his father, something adbhutam, something most amazing, most unusual. Katham tu etat aprasiddham anya vijñānena anyad vijñātam bhavati iti. How can it be that in knowing one thing, other things become known? This is something unknown. Aprasiddham. You know a part, you know the part. By knowing the part, you don't know the cloth. So by knowing one thing, how can it be that you know everything else? Aprasiddham, adbhutam, most unusual. That is what Shvetaketu thought, and Pritchati asked, Kathan bhagavaha sa adesho bhavati iti. O revered sir, please tell me, how is that instruction? By knowing one thing, that everything as well becomes known. What is the nature of that instruction? Yatha somya ekena mritpinda. So this is a pratigna. Chhandogya Upanishad 6th chapter begins with this pratigna or proposition. Eka vijñānena sarva vijñānam. By knowing one thing, everything becomes known. So illustration is given. Yatha somya ekena mritpindena sarvam mrunmayam vijñātam syāt. O Somya, O good looking one, Yatha ekena mritpindena vijñātena. By knowing one clod of earth, sarvam mrunmayam vijñātam syāt, everything made of earth as well becomes known. How can it be? Katham mritpinde karane vijñāte karyam anyat vijñātam syāt. Mrit, call it earth or clay, is the cause of the pot, alright? But how is it that by knowing the pot, by knowing clay, which is one thing, the pot which is something else, how can it become known? Naisha dosha karanena ananyatvat karyasya yan manyase anyasmin vijñāte anyat na jñāyate iti. It is true. You think that by knowing one thing, another thing cannot be known, which is what you say. Satyam evam syāt. That applies to things in general. But there is one peculiar case where this does not apply. Yadi anyat karanāt karyam syāt. If karyam, the effect, was altogether separate from the karanam, the material cause, then what you say would be true. Nadu evam anyat karanāt karyam. But the effect is not separate from the material cause. Katham tarhi idam loke idam karanam ayam asya vikarah iti vyavharah. But people say that the clay is the cause and pot is the modification, transformation of clay. That's what they say. Meaning that a pot is treated as a pot. It's called pot. And clay is called clay. So pot is not called clay. Pot has its own name, its own form. It seems to be a separate entity. Then why is this vyavahara, shabda prayoga, this kind of expression that this is clay, this is a pot? Shrunu vacharambanam vikaro namadhayam. Whatever is called vikara, a transformation, so pot is called a transformation of clay. Vacharambanam, vag arambhanam. It has arambha, it has its origin only in speech. Vag alambanam depends only on the speech. What is called a transformation, such as a pot, it has its origin not in clay. A pot has its origin not in clay, a pot has its origin in speech. This is a very profound thing. What is a pot? A name and form is nothing more than the word pot. Vacharambanam vikaro namadhayam. What's called vikara? The effect, the modification, transformation is vacharam namadhayam. Nama eva namadhayam is nothing more than the name or the word pot. Vag alamvanamatram nam eva kevalam. It only depends upon the speech, only depends upon the word. Then nam eva kevalam, a pot is nothing more than the word pot. Na vikaro nama vastu asti paramarthatah. As the Swami would say that for the word clay, there is a substance corresponding to word clay. But then there is no substance corresponding to the word pot. It's alright. So corresponding to the word pot, there is no substance. So, na vikaro nama vastu asti. What is it called? Vikara, the modification, transformation, effect. There is no vastu, there is no entity there. What a wonderful thing, Paramartha, in reality, mritika ityevatu, mritika eva satyam vastu iti. Mritika iti eva. In case of the example of pot and clay, clay alone is real. That doesn't mean clay alone is real. Mritika iti means whatever is the material cause, that is real. As far as a transformation or effect or a product is concerned, only what is the material cause, that is real. Then further illustrations are given. Yatha somya ekena lohamanina sarvam lohamayam vijñātam syāt. Just as, O good looking one, by knowing one lump of gold, whatever is made of gold is as well known. Vācārambram vikaro namadheyam lohamani, so loham ityeva satyam. So loha is gold here, So what is modification? Has its origin only in the speech, is only as much as the word, and the reality there is gold alone. Yatha somya ekena nakha nikruntanena saram karshnayasam vijñātam syāt. Nakha nikruntana, a nail clipper. How by knowing? One nail clipper means one little unit of iron, that's all. Everything made of iron is as well known. Vācārambram vikaro namadheyam krishnayasam ityeva satyam. Even nail clipper also is only mithya, only iron is satyam. Evam somya sadesho bhavati iti. O somya, O good looking one, that is how, or that is the nature of adesha, the instruction here. Aneka dushtantopādanam dārashtāntika aneka bheda anugamartham dhrudha pratityartham cha. Not one, but three illustrations are given. Dārashtāntika aneka bheda anugamartham. Dārashtāntike aneka bhedaha. What is Drishtanta is clay. What is Dārashtanta is Brahman. Aneka bhedaha tejo banna rupaha. Because we will discover that in Dārashtanta so many modifications are there. Fire, water, earth. Dhrudha pratityartham cha. And also for a firm understanding, a firm conviction. When Shvetaketu was told this, Shvetaketu said, Navainunam bhagavantaha te etat avedishuhu. I think that my revered teacher, he did not know this. He refers to them in plural, show the respect, they did not know this. Yadi etat avedishan katham ven avakshaniti. If my teachers knew this, then how come they would not have taught me? Katham me gunavate bhaktaya anugataya na vakshan na uktavantah. I am a gunavan shishya, meritorious disciple. Bhaktaya, I was a devotee, devoted to my teacher. Anugataya, very obedient to my teacher. It is possible that a teacher may not teach. If the student is not deserving, he may refrain from parting with certain knowledge if the disciple is not deserving. But I am a deserving student in every way. I am meritorious, I have devotion, and I am obedient. So to me, a student disciple like that, How come teacher would not have taught if they had known? Bhagavan so te evetad ave so navai nunam bhagavantah te tat avedishu. Therefore, my conclusion is that I am afraid that my teacher also did not know this. Avachamapi guroho nyag-bhavam avadid. What should not be said? In fact, he in a way humiliated his teacher. Nyag-bhavam showed the teacher in a very bad light, which is not the thing to do. Still, Shvetaketu said this. Punaha Gurukulam prati preshana bhayat. He was afraid that his father may send him back there to Gurukulam. Bhagavan sveva me tat abbhavitu iti. So, O revered sir, you may please give me that instruction. Tatha, father said, all right, may it be so. Tatha somyati hovacha. O good looking one, may it be so. That's what the father said. Sadeva somya idam agrasid ekameva dvitiyam. He somya. So it begins with Sat, should begin with idam, really. The subject here is idam. Idam sadeva asid, but then it begins with Sat. Saditi asthita matram vastu. Sat means of the nature of existence. Asthita. Asthi means is, and isness is what is meant by the word Sat here. Sukshmam, extremely subtle. Nirvishesham, devoid of all the attributes. Sarvagatam, all pervasive. Ekam, one, non-dual. Niranjanam, untainted. Niravayavam, partless. Vijnanam, of the nature of consciousness. That's what the word Sat here stands for. Yat avagamyate sarvedantebhyah. So Bhashyakara clarifies right in the beginning that by the word Sat you should not think that this Upanishad is talking about something different from what other Upanishads talk about. Other Upanishads talk about Brahma, Nirvishesham, Niravayavam, Sarvagatam, Niranjanam. The reality that other Upanishads also talk about is what is meant here by the word Sat. Sat eva, eva shabda avadharanartha. Sat alone was there, nothing else was there. Kim tat avadhriyate. What is it that was only Sat? Idam jagat. This universe, nam rupa kriyavat. The universe consisting of name, form and function. Vikritam upalabhyate. The universe that we find in front of us, which has modified itself in the form of name, form and function, that universe. Yattat sadeva asid. This universe was nothing but Sat. Kada agre jagatah pragutpatte. Before the creation, this universe was nothing but Sat or existence. Kim na idanim idam Sat yena agre asidi visheshyate. The universe of names and forms, is it not Sat anymore? That the Upanishad says it was Sat before its creation. After creation, is it no more Sat? No, that's not the case. Katham tari visheshanam. Then why does Upanishad say that this universe was Sat or existence, one without a second, before creation, why should you have to add this condition, this qualification, before creation? Why? Idanimapi idam sat eva. Bhashyakara says, no, even now also universe is only sat or existence, nothing more, sat eva. Even now also there is no substance other than sat, even now. Kintu nama rupa visheshanavat idam shabda buddhi visham cha iti idam cha bhavati. But now the universe which was nothing more than Sat is Nam Rupa Visheshanavat. Now we perceive that as possessed of the adjectives, the qualifications or attributes of name and form. Shabda Buddhi Vishayam cha. The universe is now qualified by the words Nama Rupa and the Pratyaya, the cognition, name and form. Idam chavati, it is called idam. See, before creation, there was no idamness, understand? Idam means this. The very thisness was not there at that time. So now, the universe has thisness as well as the attributes of name, form and function. That this is what upalabhyate. Since we perceive the universe in this manner, therefore the Upanishad uses the word agre, before creation. Pragutpatte tu agre kevala sat shabda buddhi matra gamyam eva iti. So what obtains now as available in or perceived in name and form and the corresponding cognition of name and form, corresponding idea of name and form. Utpatte prag, the very same universe which right now obtains as name, form and function, and obtains as idam, as this, before its creation was available for the concept sat. Kevala sat shabda buddhi matra gamyam eva. It was shabda and buddhi, shabda and pratyaya. So right now shabda is nama rupa and idam, and pratyaya is corresponding concept that it creates. This universe before its creation was available for just one word sat and the concept sat. Nahi pragutpatte nam rupat va idamiti grahitum shakyam vastu sushupta kala eva. Just as in the sushupti kala there is no name and form and no thisness, so also before creation the universe was not available to be appreciated as name and form or this. Ekameva advitiyam. So Panchadashikara says Ekam eva advitiyam. These three words are meant to deny the three kinds of Bheda or the divisions. Swagata, Sajatiya, Vijatiya. Ekam one. No Swagata, no internal differences. One alone. No Sajatiya, there is no entity of its own class. Advitiyam, Vijatiya, there is no entity of a different class. So Sajatiya, Vijatiya, Swagata, all these differences are denied by the three words Ekam, Eva, Advitiyam. तो तत्र एतस्मिन् प्रागोत्पत्तेः वस्तु निरूपणे. Now this is how Upanishad delineates a vastu, the reality before creation, it is Sat existence, one without a second. But Eke Vainashikaha Ahu Tad Eke Ahu Asadeva Idamagrasit Ekameva Dvitiyam Tasmat Asatah Sajjayata. With reference to the very same thing. While outlining or while communicating, while delineating, explaining what existed before the universe, they say that asadva idamagrasi, this was non-existence. Universe was non-existence before its creation, and non-existence also is qualified as one without a second. Abhavamatram pragutpattehe idam jagat ekameva advitiyamasid. It was non-existence before its creation. Sat abhavamatramhi pragutpattehe tattvam kalpayanti bauddhaha vainashikaha. The nihilists they call. Kalpayanti. They imagine that the universe was nothing but non-existence. Kutastu khalu somya evam syad iti hovacha. So teacher says, hey Somya, O good looking one, kutastu khalu somya evam syad. O good looking one, how can it be so? Katham asatah sajjayata iti. How is it that something is born of nothing? How can it be? Satveva somya idam agrasid. A Somya, O good looking one, this universe was indeed Sat or existence or Brahman. Ekameva Dvitiyam, which is one without a second. Necessary to say that Brahman remains one without a second in spite of the creation. The reason why it is necessary to qualify Brahman as one without a second is because we come across the multiplicity, duality, divisions in our day-to-day life. In these divisions, Sajatiya, Vijatiya, Swagata, all of these are taken to be real by us. Therefore it is said that no, all these divisions, Sajatiya, Vijatiya, Swagata, all of these are mithya, they are all non-existent, really. What is not there appears to be there. Having said this, then the Upanishad continues further. Tadaikshata bahusyam prajayeti. Tat aikshata, tat sat aikshata, iksham darshanam krutavata. That Sat of Brahma thus saw, thought, deliberated, you can say. Bahusyam prajayeti, bahusyam, may I become many, prajayaya, may I be born. Iti. Tat teja asrujata. Then that Sat or that Devata, the word Devata is used here, that Devata, Sat teja asrujata, having deliberated, may I become many, may I be born, then it created Sat or element fire. Tat teja aikshata, that element fire then deliberated. Bahusyam prajayayati, may I become many, may I be born in this manner. Tat apaha asrujata, the element fire created the element water. Bahusyam, meaning Brahman alone became fire, and fire alone became water. So Brahman, which was in the form of fire, then became water. How can Brahman become fire? So Brahman first appeared as element fire, and Brahman, which now is appearing as fire, then appeared as water. Tasmad yatra kvacha shochati svedate va purushah tesava tad adhyapo vajayante. Therefore, when a person is exerting or suffers, or is exerting and perspires, so from the fire the water is born. Ta apaha aikshantah. The water also further deliberated. Bhakshyasya prajaya mahiti. Because the word up is used always in plural, therefore may we become many, may we be born. Taha annam asrujanta. Having thus deliberated, the element water created the element earth. Tasmad yatra kvacha varshati tadeva huishtam annam bhavati. Therefore, wherever there is plenty of rain, there is plenty of food, showing that the food of the earth is born of water. Here the word annam stands for the element earth. By that discussion also came. So this much we saw. Now we can proceed further with the page 232. So three elements are created: fire, water and earth. They stand for five elements, meaning that you should understand that the elements space and air also were created to be consistent with Taittiriya Upanishad. Long discussions were there. Taittiriya Upanishad very clearly mentions five elements. Tasmadva etasmat atmana akasha sambhutah. Akashat vayuh, vayuh agnihi, agnehe apah, adbyaf prithvi. So Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apa, Prithvi, five elements are mentioned there. So should we consider these five or three? Meaning that should we interpret Taittiriya Upanishad as according to Chhandogya Upanishad and understand those two elements are not there? Or should we interpret the Chhandogya Upanishad in keeping the Taittiriya Upanishad? Then the decision was that this Upanishad, this statement must be interpreted in light with the statements in Taittiriya. So we should understand the creation of the elements, space and air also here. Now continuing on the page 232, now there are so many tikas here by the way. Narendra Puniyam Tippanam is there, Anandagiri Tika is there, and Abhinava Nayaranandendra Saraswati Tika is there. Looking at that, Srimad Abhinava Nayaranandendra Saraswati Tika says, Nanu Evapi Eka Vijnanena Sarvijnanam Na Siddhyate. Even if you say that the Brahman or Sat became the elements, space, air, water, fire, earth, all the five elements are there. So, idea, what is the pratigna, what is the proposition? By knowing one thing, you as well know everything else. For that, the creation of five elements is described. So, evamapi, even though five elements are created from Brahman became, meaning that Brahman appears, Brahman is the material cause of these five elements. Even then, the five elements do not include everything. Eka vijnanena sarva vijnanam na siddhyati. Then also, by knowing Brahman, you know the five elements. But whatever is not included in five elements will not be known. Just a question here. Satkaryanam tejobannanam sadjnanena jnanepi. Alright. We understand that by knowing Sat, which is the material cause, so what is the effect of Sat? Tejaha up annanam, elements, fire, water and earth, they are known, that we accept. Tathapi mrutpashanadinam shariranam cha paridushyamana karanantarjanyanam. But we find that this mrutpashanadinam, the earth, clay is born of earth, not of Sat. Pashana means the rocks or the stones are born of earth, not of Sat. Shariranam cha, and these shariras or the bodies of living beings also are seen to be born from the parents and not from Sat. So question is, we see things being born from things other than Sat. Paridushyamana karanantara janyanam. A son is born of his father, not from Sat. A rock is born of earth, not from Sat. So karanantara janyanam. So by knowing the cause, you know the effect, alright. But then Sat is not the only cause. There are many other causes also. There are causes other than Sat also. Therefore, by knowing Sat, which is material cause, you as well know what is the effect of Sat. But there are many other causes also. Those causes or effects will not be known even after knowing Sat. Therefore, this pratigna or proposition of knowing everything by knowing one will not be satisfied. Sajnanena jnana asambhavat. So by knowing Sat, you know the 5 elements, alright. But then you do not know what is not produced from Sat. Tesham tat akaryatvat. Because these bodies and all this stone and clay, etc., they are not born of Sat. Therefore, by knowing Sat, how do you know them? Says, well, Tesham sajjanya bhutatra janyatvena paramparaya sajjanyatmasti navachyam. We can say that way. The 3 elements are born of Sat, and the rest of the universe is born of 3 elements. So by knowing the Sat, you know the 3 elements. By knowing 3 elements, you know the rest of the universe born of the 3 elements. Iti navachyam, don't say that. Acetananam pashanadinam acetana bhutatre janyatvepi. Alright. We may accept that the clay and stone and all this, the lifeless things, unconscious things, are born of the 3 elements that are unconscious. So mrut pashana is okay. Meaning that we can accept that they are born of earth. Earth is born of Sat. So paramparaya. Paramparaya means what? In sequence. In sequence they are born. So from Sat, the element earth is born, fire is born, from there the water, from the earth, from there the pashana, the stone or the clay. So alright, you can say that by knowing Sat, the unconscious things, insentient things such as stone, etc., are known. So understand that stone, etc., are insentient. The 3 elements also are insentient. So insentient can be born of insentient. Tathapi chetananam pashvadi shriranam tajjanyatva anupattehe. But these bodies that are sentient bodies, they cannot be said to be born of insentient elements. Purva sajatiya sharirajanyatva darshanatcha. We find that one human body is born of other human being, and that body was born of other human being. Therefore, purva sajatiya. A human being is only born of a human being. A dog is born of a dog. a cat is born of cat. Sajati. Not that a human being is born of dog, etc. That doesn't happen. And therefore, so this is what we observe. So we find that these sentient bodies are born of other sentient bodies, the same class. And the elements are insentient. How can they give rise to the birth of the sentient entity, sentient bodies? Iti ashankya teshavi trivutkrita bhutatraya janyatvam eva. So you see, the point is that you have to account for everything. You have to account for everything. Then alone, by knowing Brahman, everything as well becomes. So we must show how whatever there is in the universe is all born of, directly or indirectly, is all born of Brahman. In fact, directly born of Brahman. Brahman alone is in the form of fire, in the form of water, in the form of earth. Therefore, it's not that fire has an existence separate from Brahman. Everything is born directly from Brahman. But looks like the sentient bodies are exception. Because elements are insentient, how can insentient elements give rise to sentient bodies? Teshamapi tirvutkrita bhuta bhutatraya janyatvam. Subsequently, it will be shown how even these bodies also, sentient bodies also, are products of the three elements when they combine in a threefold way. Trivrit karanam. So the panchi karanam with three elements, trivrit karanam. Each element becomes threefold. So in the element fire, you divide into two, half fire, half fire. The half is divided further into two and then given to other two elements. So in every element, gross element, we have half of that element like fire, 1/4 of water, 1/4 of earth. The element fire, element water, half water, 1/4 fire, 1/4 earth. The element earth, half earth, 1/4 fire, 1/4 water. So this is called Trivritkrita. So Trivritkrita Bhutatrayam. When the elements are born, they are in their tanmatra, subtle state. Then they combine with each other to become gross. So from subtle three elements, we have the gross three elements. But still, how do you get Chetanatvam? Sentiency. Chetanatvam tu tesham satah Jiva Rupena Praveshat. See how you to account for all sentient bodies or sentient beings. That the body becomes sentient because of entry of Sat or existence of consciousness. That's how the body becomes sentient. So body itself is a product of three elements. The sentiency is because of the entry of consciousness of Brahman. Ata sarvam sat karyamiti sarvijñatam sambhavati. Therefore, everything sentient and insentient, whatever there is the product of Sat. Iti sarvijñanam sambhavati. And therefore, it is possible to know everything by knowing Sat. Iti vaktum. This is what Shruti wants to say. Tesham ityadi khandantaram. So khanda, this new khanda that begins. This is the third khanda, The two khanda, the sections are over. Third, why do they begin the third one? To again establish how by knowing Brahman, everything as well becomes known. Tad vyachaste teshamiti. If you go to Anandagiri, Mahabhutanam Achetananam Brahma Karyata Ukta. The three elements are insentient, that they are products of Brahman. That was said in the earlier two sections. The earlier section. Jivavishtanam Bhautikanam Paramparaya Brahma Karyata Vedi Vaktum. That even sentient beings also are products of Brahman, in sequence. Iti Vaktam Anuvadati Tesham iti. So let us read the passage now. Tesham khalu esham bhutanam trini eva bijane bhavante andajam jivajam udbhijamite. Tesham khalu et esham bhutanam. Of all these sentient beings, trini eva bijani bhavanti. There are three bija, three seeds, three causes. Andajam, jivajam, udbhijam. Andajam, born of egg. Jivajam, born of womb. Udbhijam, born of earth. Iti. So understand that Andajam means like a bird, like a snake, which are born of anda or born of eggs. They become the cause of subsequent birds and snakes. Jivajam, born of womb, and therefore one human being then becomes the cause of the birth of other human being. Udbhijam, one tree becomes the cause of the other tree. That's how it is said. So Anandagiri says, Purvadhyaye yesham gatya gati darshite trutiyam sthanamuktam tai tat shabdena paramrashyante tesham. Tesham means of those. Of what? Which those? There is no reference here. All of a sudden you are using a pronoun. Pronoun cannot be used unless a noun is mentioned. So where the previous khanda, the previous section only talks about the three elements, doesn't talk about the sentient beings. So where do you refer to? So open the page 192. Says Purvadhyaya yesham gatyagati darshite. They go and come back. Trutiyam sthanam uktam. The third sthanam or the third gati also was said. So page 192 said Tadyaiha ramaniya charanaha abhyasha hayatte ramaniyam yonim apadyeran. So those people who have performed meritorious acts, they also get quickly meritorious womb or meritorious species, meritorious birth. Brahmanayonim, Vakshatriyonim va, Vaishyonim va. So people with meritorious acts become Brahmana, Kshatriya or Vaishya. Yathaya Kapuya Charanaha, those people who have conducted themselves in an unmeritorious way, sinful way. Abhya quickly take Kapuyam Yonim Apadyeran, they get also inferior births or the lower births. Shvayonim va, Sukayonim va, Chandalayonim va, they become dog, pigs or a dog eater. These two classes. Atha etayoho patoho na katarenechana. There are beings who do not fall in these two categories also. Means they are miserable. Not only sinners but great sinners, violating every rule. Tani yamani shudrani asakrat avartini bhutani bhavanti. They become these small little creatures which are born again and again. Jayasva miyasva idetat trutiyam sthanam. They have this third destination. Jayasva mriyasva. Be born and die. So quickly being born, quickly dying. So these three were mentioned. That is what is here meant by the word tesham. These three. Going back to Anandagiri, Purvadhyaye yesham gatyagati darshite. They go and come back. Trutiyam jasthanam uktam. And third, they quickly go and come back. Tani tat shabdena paramarshante. They are remembered here or referred to here by the word tesham. Tesham khalu. Tesham prasiddhatva dyotanartham khalu iti uktam. And these three are very well known. These three good yonis, bad yonis, and most miserable yonis. Bhutanam triniya bijani bhavantiti uttaratra sambandha. There are only three seeds or three causes. So Bhashyakara says, Tesham jiva vishtanam khalu esham pakshyadinam bhutanam esham प्रत्यक्ष निर्देशाद न तो तेजः प्रभृतीनां तेषां त्रिवृत्करणस्य वक्ष्यमाणत्वात् असति त्रिवृत्करणे प्रत्यक्ष निर्देशानुपत्तिः तेषां Jiva Avishtanam, those which contain Jiva. Where Brahman is entered as Jiva, that is what is referred to here as Tesham. Khalu shows Prasiddhi, something well known that in this universe there are these three kinds of beings. A fourth is to be included, we will state it later on. So, meaning that all the sentient beings or all the living beings are divided into four categories. That's one way of dividing them, categorizing them. Says Narayananandra, यद्यपि इदं त्रिवृत्करणोक्त्यनन्तरं श्रेयसृष्टिमुक्त्वा वक्तुम् उचितम्. How come you are mentioning, talking about the three bodies? They are not even born yet. The process of creation is only going on. So far, the Shruti has talked about the creation of three subtle elements. Then these three subtle elements should go through a process of grossification. Then we should have three gross elements and they will combine to make these bodies. Then you should talk about the bodies, not now. Yadyapi idam trivutkaranokthyanantaram shayasushti muktva vaktum uchitam. You talk about trivutkaranam, the threefold combination, and then talk of the bodies, and then talk of these living beings. Tathapi, then why is Shruti talking about it now? Jeev rupena praveshasya sharira vishayatvat. But then the Shruti wants to talk about the entry of Brahman into this body. Therefore, Jeev rupena praveshasya sharira vishayatvat. Brahman can enter as Jiva, it can enter what? Only a body. Brahman can enter only body as Jiva. Body is required for entrance as Jiva. Therefore, Sharira Vishayatvat, Brahman cannot enter a stone as a living, as a Jiva. As a Jiva, Brahman can enter only the body. Therefore, Anagata Avekshana Nyayena. Anagata, what has not yet come, what will come in future. So looking at future, avekshana, looking at future. bhutebhya sharira srushti api siddhavat krutya. So this is going to be mentioned later on. So Shruti talks as though it is already mentioned or already described, that the bodies are already born, because that is going to be talked about. Iha idanintana sharirasya srushti-yukta iti drashtavyam. And therefore, assuming that the body is born, then these bodies are further divided into three categories here, taking for granted that the bodies are born. If bodies are born, then how many kinds of bodies are there? That is what is sought to be described here. Teshamiti tat-shabdena mrut-pashanadena api grahane. See, Anandagiri said Tesham refers to those three kinds of living beings. Teshamiti tat-shabdena. Now, Tesham can also refer to three elements that I mentioned earlier. Mrut-pashanadena api grahane. Then Tesham means what? It would include also the clay and the insentient things also. Triniyavayati Vishesha Anupatti. Then you cannot say that there are only three causes, because the Pashana has a different cause. Tesham Andajadi Ajanyatvat. We know that a stone is not born of eggs, it is not born of womb, it is not born of earth. Therefore, a stone does not fall in these three categories described here. So, if by pronoun Tesham you include everything, that will not include the stone, earth, etc., insentient things. The Vashakar is Jiva Vishtanam. Tesham iti Jiva Vishtanam. So, those who are where Brahman is entered as Jiva, those who possess the Jiva or a subtle body or a soul, you should say, soul, Jiva. Tesham Jiva Vishtanam Khalvis Prasiddhi Esham. Tesham means those, Esham means this, understand. Esham means this, it refers to something that is evident. The pronoun is etat, means this. And so, of that, something that is evident. So therefore, Nanu tat shabdasya prakruta bhutatraya paramarshitvam yuktamiti ashankya. Isha means what is evident. All these bodies that you see, that is what is shown here. But Tesham refers to what? Now Anandagiri said Tesham refers to those three kinds of living beings. Here, this Tikakara says Tesham should refer to what has just gone by previously, the three elements. Nanu tat shabdasya prakruta bhutatraya paramarshitvam yuktam. Therefore, Tesham of those should refer to the three elements which have just been talked about, and they should be referred to. Iti ashanke Tesham Trivutkaranat Purvam Apratyakshatvat. A technical point. See, understand that these three elements are only tanmatras. What is tanmatra? In their pure state. Meaning that they have not yet become grossified. The five elements can be perceived by our senses only after they are grossified. The elements in their pure state cannot be perceived by the sense organs. Therefore they call Sukshma Bhutani and Sthula Sukshma Panchama Bhutani, Sthula Panchama Bhutani. So when the elements are born, then in their native state, pure state, not available for perception. Esham refers to something perceptible. Therefore, even though Tesham may bring the idea of those three elements, Esham excludes them, because Esham means this, it refers to something which is evident. Those three elements are not evident. Trivutkaranat puram apratyakshatvad. Before the threefold combination, they are not yet pratyaksha, not perceptible to senses. Devata Shabda Nirdeshana later on. The Shruti will talk about these three elements as Devatas. Or also, so Devata Shabda Nirdeshana Atindriyatva Avagamacha, and Devatas are not perceptible to senses, they are Atindriya, they are beyond the senses, therefore also they cannot be referred to by the pronoun Esham, this. Eshamiti Pratyaksha Nirdesha Anupattehe, therefore this Nirdesha indication is Esham, as Pratyaksha, something evident, cannot be therefore Eshamiti. Bhashyaka said Pakshyadinam. Why Pakshi, etc.? Because Andajam. Shruti mentions Andajam first instead of Jivajam. For whatever reason. The Bhashyaka is Pakshyadinam. Pakshi is what? Andajam. A bird is born of egg. A snake also is said to be born of egg. And there are many such things which are born of eggs. Pakshadinam, Bhutanam, because word Bhutanam is used. So Bhutanam can mean three elements, but no. Bhutanam means here the living beings. Trini eva bijani bhavanti. So Esham, Bhashyakara said, Esham iti pratyaksha nirdeshat Bhutanam, Pakshadinam, Bhutanam. This should refer to the living beings, and none to Tejas Pravrutinam, should not refer to the three elements beginning with fire. Tesham Trivutkaranasya Vakshamanatvat. Shruti will talk about their threefold combination, has not yet grossified. Asati Trivutkarane Pratyaksha Nirdesha Anupattihi. The elements cannot become the objects of perception unless they have gone through the process of the threefold combination, which is what makes them gross or perceptible. Also Bhashyakara says further, Devata Shabda Prayogacha Tejas Pravrutishu Imaha Tisro Devataha iti. Later on, Shruti will say that Brahman thinks that I will enter these three devatas Anena Jivena Atmana Anupravishya Namrupe Vyakarvani. I will enter these three devatas as Jiva and will then manifest the names and forms. So there, those three elements are referred to as devatas. Devata Sabda Prayogacha Tejas Pravrutishu. For these three elements, beginning with fire, the word Devata is used. Tisro Devata iti. Therefore also, Devatas also are Paroksha, not Pratyaksha. Therefore Narayana Nandendra said, Devata Shabda Nireshana Atindriyatva Avagamacha. Because three elements are referred to as Devata, and Devatas are also, they are beyond our sense perception. Therefore, Ishamiti Pratyaksha Anupatte. Therefore, these three elements cannot be referred to here by the word Esham. Idam Upalakshanam Tesham Andadi Karanatvena Andadadi Janyatva Anupatte Cha Iti api Drashtavyam. Tesham Andadi Karanatvena Andajadi Janyatva Anupatte. The three elements are the cause of these threefold beings. We are talking about the beings that are born of this Andaja, etc. But what are three elements? Three elements are cause of Andaja. So they cannot be born of Anda. Anda is born of three elements. And therefore, three elements cannot qualify for being described as Andajam, Jivajam, Udbhijam, because all those things are born of three elements. Tesham Andadi Karanatvena Andadi Janyatva Anupattehe. These three elements are very cause of these three the bodies, therefore they cannot be born of the bodies. Iti api drashtavyam, that also one must understand. Says Anandagiri, Sambhavati cha pratyakshadinam pratyakshata iti. Prakshadinam pratyakshata sambhavati. The birds, etc., are very evident to the senses. Tani evatra bhutani visheshitani. Therefore, by the word of bhu, because Upanishad tani esam bhutanam. So bhuta can mean the elements also, but no, bhuta means the sentient beings. No teja pravritini tesham pratyakshata ayogaditi. Okay. Siddhanagiri, teja pravritinam pratyakshata ayogat esham viti nirdesha anupattim samarthayate. Because elements are not evident to senses, therefore they cannot be referred to as esham. Tesham pratyakshataya nirdesh asambhave hetvantaramaha. And that they cannot be referred to as this because of the word devata. Devatas are also devatanam parokshatva prasiddhi. Paroksha priya eva hi devaha. Devatas are always fond of being referred to as indirectly and not directly. Ete prasiddhe eteshu ja devata pada prayogat. And for the elements the word devata is used. Na etesham pratyakshata upatti. Therefore the elements are not perceptible at this stage. Tasman mahabhutanam atra bhuta shabdena upadana ayoga. Therefore by the word mahabhuta we should not take them as mahabhuta, should take them as the sentient beings. Okay. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.